What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new spoiler review, breakdown, ending explained, talking about all the Easter eggs for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a film that I was so anticipating. It was my second most anticipated film of the year, and I liked it. That's really it. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. It's a solid movie, but what I will say is Sam fucking Raimi, man, my favorite horror director, absolutely killed it. And I have three awesome people joining me today, and I can't wait to bring them in. So let's start bringing them in right now. Ren Geekness, my co-host, of course. I joined him for This Week in Geek. How you doing, Ren?
I'm doing good. You're saving me 2 hours. Well, I'm assuming we're going to be here for 2 hours of editing my X-Men Dark Phoenix review, and it's always better to spend time talking about actual good movies.
Actual good movies. That is very true. And next up, we have Rudy from Rudy's Movie Reviews, a man who hates the MCU now, but he did like this movie, and that's why we had to bring him in to talk about this.
Yeah, thanks, Zach, for having me. Yes, I actually had a great time with this film. I loved it.
So there we go. And next up, Down Under, Patrick. It wouldn't be a live stream without Patrick. He's here. He woke up for this, and we appreciate him. How you doing, man?
I'm the life of the party. Why wouldn't you have me here? Thank you so much for having me once again. I'm like Rudy. I loved this movie. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I was away for work over the weekend, and my mates, before I flew back to Brisbane, we actually made sure to catch a session of this beforehand. So
that's awesome.
We had to before we left.
I love it. I love it. Well, and you know what? Now we are discussing it in full spoilers, and that's what I'm happy to discuss. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, just so you know, we are going to talk about Mr. Fantastic dying. We're also going to talk about a lot of other things.
Straight into it.
Yeah, so just straight into it. Title, the thumbnail, everything says spoiler.
Boom.
You have been warned. Especially, sorry, I just messed up your entire day. So we're going to have fun. And also in the live chat, we will be taking any super chats, any questions you have, any theories you want us to talk about, any explain stuff. And I'll also just kind of towards the end of it, I'll be taking some of your guys' live questions about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Nothing else. Maybe if you want to ask some other MCU stuff, that is completely fine. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into our initial thoughts. Starting with me, I like this movie. I've seen it twice. My second time viewing it, I didn't love it as much as I really wanted to. But the things I did love, I loved even more. Sam fucking Raimi is my favorite horror director of all time. He comes to play. He gives me more Evil Dead than Spider-Man, and I was totally all for that. The zombified necromancy stuff, the way he shoots all the action scenes. This is probably some of my favorite directing in the entire MCU. And I really hope he comes back for the third Doctor Strange or whatever they want to have him do next, because Sam Raimi, it's been way too long. 15 plus years without directing a film. Too long for me. Other than that, Elizabeth Olsen absolutely kills it. She was terrifying in this, and I personally think she has given the best performance in the entire MCU now as the Scarlet Witch. Give me more Scarlet Witch. And, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, personally for me, might be the best hero alive right now in the MCU when it comes down to the actual main teams. Not talking Moon Knight yet because he hasn't gone over to the movies, but I love what Benedict Cumberbatch has been doing here. So lots of conversations here. Nice. Ren, let us know your initial thoughts, man.
So initial thoughts, I love this movie, and then there's the third act, which has sort of where my issues lie with the film are like culminated in the third act. Everything until then, this was exactly what I wanted as someone who grew up reading Doctor Strange comics, and I made all these references to alternate universes and all these different weird fucking dimensions that nobody understands or cares about. And now there's a big budget Hollywood movie with it splashed onto the screen with all the weirdness I could want, a phenomenal Raimi score, phenomenal Elfman score, sorry, and there's a sequence that I'm gonna rave about. That where Sam Raimi and Danny Elfman took on acid together, and they came up with this sequence at 4 a.m. And then I was just, yes.
It's the best. Yes. It's my favorite scene in the movie. It's my favorite.
It involves music. Let's just say that until we get there.
It's so beautiful.
So, Rudy, what about you, man? You said, this isn't your cup of tea, but you love this movie.
Yeah, like I said, the last MCU movie I saw was The Eternals, but the formula, if you're a Marvel fan, you know the formula I'm talking about. Everything more or less feels the same. And I just checked out. I'm done with that. So I went into this film expecting nothing. I didn't go into the theories or anything. And I had a bit of nostalgia. The first opening battle sequence with that octopus creature, seeing the directing and hearing Danny Elfman, believe it or not, it reminded me of being in the theater in 2001 watching Spider-Man. I got goosebumps. I actually felt like, hey, this feels familiar. And I started smiling. There were some pacing issues regarding tone, like the MCU would stamp in, like after that battle at the beginning, there's this hokey back and forth at a diner, which really kind of ruined the tone for me. But seeing Danny Elfman about 45-minute, 50-minute mark just show up, some of the possession scenes were amazing. I agree. The Scarlet Witch, in my opinion, is the strongest character in the MCU. She is utterly amazing, and I just love how Sam Raimi went full Sam Raimi at the end. I actually yelled. We can curse here, right?
Yeah.
When he took over the Lost Souls at the end of the third act and made it a cape, I go, fuck yes! That's what I said in the theater, dude. I go, this is awesome, man. I love this. I got excited. I haven't had that reaction since Infinity War. So it was a different tone, and I really hope that the MCU, Kevin Feige, allows filmmakers like Sam Raimi that creative freedom to just make something different and just go with it. I loved it, dude. I just had a good time. I loved it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And Patrick, what about you? I know you've seen it twice now, right? Or did you? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it twice now. My mates and I, when I was away for work over the weekend, we made sure to catch it before we flew back home. But I'm with Rudy on this. I absolutely loved it because I've sort of been exhausted from the MCU since COVID started. I rewatched them and I realized that I haven't enjoyed an MCU movie released since Ant-Man in 2015. Like, I don't like Endgame. I don't like Infinity War. I just sit here and I'm like, I'm tired of it now. And it's just the same thing over and over again. I hated Moon Knight. I finally finished it and I hated it.
All right. So it's just going to be us three now.
Wow.
Already.
Very good. Very good.
Cheers. But like Rudy, I had a bit of nostalgia with this movie. Like, I wasn't around to see the Spider-Man movies aside from Spider-Man 3 in theaters, but hearing Danny Elfman score another Marvel movie again was just everything to me. And seeing that one sequence involving a fight with, by the way, musical notes, as a comic book fan, as a musician myself, and loving Elfman, I'm sitting there watching that scene like, oh my God. It was everything to me. And need I mention, it has a lot of stuff that happens in this movie where, like Rudy did with the, the cloak and everything, where I just yelled, holy fuck. Like,
epic.
First of all, the first post-credit scene, holy shit. I'm so happy to see this character, which I'm sure we'll get to. But then I think the big one was when I saw Black Bolt turn up. I'm like, oh!
See,
yes,
and we'll definitely talk about Black Bolt, but the way that his brains imploded,
I
took my friend. So I took my
it.
friend who has not seen a single MCU Phase 4 film. He has not seen a single one. He hasn't seen Spider-Man No Way Home. He hasn't watched any of the shows, any of this stuff. But Sam Raimi is his favorite director of all time. He loves The Evil Dead. He was so excited. So I got him to go with us. And he didn't love the movie, but he goes, everything Sam Raimi did, I loved. And that scene with Black Bolt, he was sitting like 3 people over from me, and I just hear him laughing his ass off when his head imploded. And he's like, he turns to me, he goes, is this what the movie is? I'm like, well, mostly this scene, but like, and then when they're just all getting decimated, I mean, it's great. And that's my thing, is that it's like everything I love about this movie. I have issues with the story and certain things like that, and we'll talk about them, but I can't believe how damn good this movie is. And I've seen some people complain that, oh, maybe you didn't like the movie because there wasn't enough cameos. There was fine. The cameos in here were fine enough. We didn't need any more. I was happy to see that this wasn't cameo palooza and that we weren't having fucking Deadpool and Wolverine and this character and that character and the Hulk just show up for no reason. The cameos in here were there for a reason. Could we have maybe gotten a little bit more Illuminati stuff? Sure. But even then, it fits so well. And it is between Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange in the end of the day. It's their story, especially hers. As a mother, which happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the United States. This is a great movie to go see.
And Zach, if I could just add one more thing. The one problem I've had with the MCU is that I've never felt stakes with the villain. The villains, they're bad, but what have they really done? I've never felt them as an evil presence or like a Darkseid or maybe Thanos. Those are the only villains I've actually felt scared with. Maybe Bane from the Rises, but here for the first time, I actually felt like this is a threat, especially how the Scarlet Witch goes to the Illuminati. I'm like, whoa! I actually said that in the theater when Black Bolt died. Like, this is actually good. There's people dying. There's actually emotional weight here and stakes, man, which is severely lacking with the MCU. They always feel safe, and I didn't feel safe with this, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to like villain motivation. Like this is the first time where I'm looking at it, aside from like Thanos to a degree, where I felt like the villain had a personal motive behind them that, while you can't necessarily get behind it, you understand where they're coming from as well. Where you're like, I can't help but give a shit about this character as well, because it's a pre-developed character, but now that we've seen what she's lost and what she's longing for, there is a personal motive behind what she's doing. And while it's horrible what she's doing, you also understand where she's coming from, which is why I actually think Scarlet Witch, although there are little chunks for her character that I feel are missing in the movie, which obviously we'll talk about, I still feel what they did with her in this movie is some of the best character writing in the entire MCU.
I think it helps because of the build-up from Age of Ultron, Civil War, WandaVision, Infinity War, Endgame. All that stuff builds up to this. And I've seen some complaints of like, why would Wanda be doing this right after WandaVision? It's like, have you not seen how much she has endured?
I haven't seen WandaVision.
Just
WandaVision.
Oh,
I don't even have Disney Plus, and I understood where she was coming from. She was Elizabeth Olsen.
Okay,
that was some of the best acting I've seen in an MCU film by Elizabeth Olsen.
It's the best. It's the best. I think that this is the best performance an actor is given. Then Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. I really think those two are. What are you going to say, Patrick?
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great in Moon Knight.
Okay. Oh my God. Well, anyways, let's jump in. I want to start, and I gave this guy his own category because he's that awesome, Sam Raimi. As someone who, my father showed me Evil Dead when I was like 3, and I probably was scarred to death from there.
That's awesome.
My first drive-in movie was a Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire's first one. Scared the shit out of me with the Goblin. And, you know, when I have kids, they're probably going to be scared of this. I do think little kids, 6 years old around there, will be scared of this movie. My cousin has a 6-year-old who wants to see this, and I told him he got scared in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I don't think he's going to be able to watch this movie. And I shit you not, because we took him to see it, and there's a couple scenes in there where he got scared. He was like closing his eyes. Same with Spider-Man. He's closed his eyes almost on all the Goblin moments. So I'm like,
No Way Home or the
No Way Home. No Way Home. He still thought it was scary.
Okay.
So I was a little bit surprised by that. So he's a little bit more, you know, a little bit scaredy cat, but that's okay. So I told him, I was like, definitely wait on this one. You and your wife can go see it. I don't think your kid, but I love what Sam Raimi infused in here. This is clear, cut, dry, a Sam Raimi film. From the way that he shoots the camera, the action, and even when she's fighting, when she's attacking Carmitage, and she's using the mirrors, the reflections.
Oh
my
yes,
God. When she comes out all exorcism style and like twisting and turning, I'm like, Sam fucking Raimi.
Straight out of a haunted house movie.
Straight up. And it so works. And just the way that she's like floating, the way that he like directs her to do like all the like the flicking of her wrist. And again, a lot of the performance comes from the actor, but it's also from what Sam Raimi can capture. A lot of the choices with makeup, the way that they actually did the makeup around her eyes and stuff like that to make her look more insane than we have ever seen, but in a sense corrupted by the dark hold. You're fine. And I really was so surprised to see Sam Raimi continue this and just really much infuse his love of gothic horror with weird, crazy stuff. And then even Bruce Campbell, man, he gave us an Evil Dead reference with the way that he kept punching himself. And thank you, Sam Raimi, for your end credit scene, because I love the last one. How it's like, it's finally over. Like, is it stupid? Is it cheesy? Yes. And I could definitely tell everyone in my audience who laughed at that. I knew, I was like, you guys are Sam Raimi freaks. And
no one at my screening laughed at either scene with him. And I'm like, do you not know? I had one of my mates who I saw the movie with for my second viewing turn to me and go, who's that? And I'm like, didn't you see the Spider-Man trilogy? Like, he had no idea who Bruce Campbell even was.
Yeah, which is insane.
That speaks volumes. My God.
Yeah. But I love this. And, you know, I want him to do another Marvel film. I just want him to do more movies personally. But, like, I want him to do Doctor Strange 3. Nothing against Scott Derrickson's direction for the first movie. I thought he did a really good job. It was a totally different, you know, story that there was being told. But for the story being told here, Sam Raimi took it and he made a horror movie. They said from the start, we are going to be making an MCU horror film, and they made it. They announced that. I didn't actually believe they would, and this is flat in a horror film. So Ren, what about you? I know you're not the biggest fan of Evil Dead. In fact, you haven't even seen 2 and 3. So
No.
Kind of give me your thoughts and stuff.
So like you said, I'm not the biggest. I'm not a Raimi nut. I'm not a hardcore Raimi fan. Spider-Man was my first introduction to his. I like his Spider-Man movies. I like Oz the Great and Powerful, but it's not a Sam Raimi movie per se. And I've seen the first Evil Dead. Thought it was fine. Never seen the others. So coming into this as someone who adores the original Doctor Strange, the best MCU origin story for me, and I love origin stories. I went into this when they announced it. I was like, it's a fit for sure, but is it going to work for me? And it really worked for me. I think what he gives to this film is exactly that inherent wackiness and imaginative creativity that comes with a Doctor Strange movie. And the fact that Sam Raimi has such a unique sense of horror and macabre sense of humor, I think it fits very well with it. And he was just allowed to, hey, here are these toys, do your thing. And then you got the Kevin Feige, the shepherd, our Lord and Savior, then kind of overseeing, hey, you just can't do that. And then Sam Raimi would find another way to be creative. And I think his creativity was just allowed to shine. Also, I'm seeing one movie being brought up that I know a lot of people love. Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell, yeah.
Movie. I'm sorry.
It's brilliant.
I like it.
Atrocious.
I get
atrocious. One of the worst.
The goat scene is one of my favorite scenes in horror.
But
What
was I going to say? But I think he's just allowed to do his thing, but with very exciting toys, if that makes any sense. And again, it's a great fit. So like you, unless they can get Derrickson back, which I still prefer the first film ever so slightly, Sam Raimi would be a great fit, especially if what they're alluding to in that post-credit scene, which we'll get to, is what I think it is. So this really surprised me in a lot of ways. It was creative. It was imaginative. It was all the wacky things I need and want a Doctor Strange movie to be.
Yeah. And I will have a question for each of you guys after we go through this segment. But Rudy, take it forward now. Sam Raimi, man.
Yeah, Sam Raimi. Again, I'm the old guy here. And Evil Dead 1, 2, Army of Darkness. And a film that everybody never talks about is Darkman.
Darkman is good.
Yes, it's an amazing film.
I've never seen it, actually.
Oh, you're missing out,
check it out. It's so
it's in my
Danny
collection.
Elfman.
I need to watch it.
It's so amazing. And of course, the Spider-Man films will go without saying. I love directors where you're watching a film and you feel their stamp. Either it be Rob Zombie, Nolan, Tarantino, Zach. You know you're watching their films, and they they push the boundaries with what they can when they can. So with Raimi, I was excited. This was his name. If it wasn't for his name on this film, I wouldn't have gone and seen it. Because again, the tired formulaic directing, it's safe. Here, he pushed the envelope. And I was really disappointed that in my theater, no one reacted like I did when Bruce Campbell showed up. I was the only one clapping and laughing.
I was waiting for him. I'm like, okay, who's he going to be? What's his cameo going to be? You know?
And no one even noticed the Oldsmobile, the 73 Oldsmobile, when it was floating into the air. I'm like, hey, there it is.
During
no one said anything.
Dimension.
Yeah,
That's
no one
awesome.
noticed it. So I was like, damn it. So
I apologize for being one of those people.
I didn't even notice it.
Even now, I don't know what you're talking about.
I noticed it on first viewing. I'm sitting there like, all right, it's in every Raimi film.
it is.
I'm watching this movie like a hawk waiting for it.
Do you two want to explain to Ren what it is and to the audience who doesn't know?
Yeah, it's Sam Raimi. There's 2 cameos, pretty much. There's Bruce Campbell, and then he has a 73 Oldsmobile, which was the car in Evil Dead Part 1 and 2. And it even goes back in time in Army of Darkness. So he has it in the background, and it's even the car that Uncle Ben drove in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
now I'm going to know.
It's the car that the old lady drives in Drag Me to Hell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
as well.
It is.
It is. Yep.
And in the Doctor
Always been in
Strange
this
2, when they go to that universe where everything's kind of floating around, where the universe is collided, it's there floating in the middle of the street. It's right there in the middle of the frame.
Right there.
And I'm like, hey, there it is. And no one caught it. But it just brought a new energy to the MCU, which again, even though I don't like the films, they're wonderful. The first phase, I took my kid to see them all the way to Endgame. We had a wonderful time. They're magical, but you have to adapt. You have to continue to innovate. And when it's the same product, I'm bored. And here, it just gave me a piece of what I've always wanted, a filmmaker to have some freedom. Mm-hmm. And who better than Sam Raimi? And I hope this starts a trend. I really do. That's all I got.
Are your kids still into the MCU films? I'm just
No,
curious.
they didn't want to go. They're like, we're bored. We're done, Dad. We're done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they love Batman. They love Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Interesting. See that like my sister's invested now. She was never invested then. Our whole family watched them all together during COVID, and now my sister's like, I'm invested. I have to watch everything. I just feel like it. But she doesn't love these movies. Like she has been very picky. She still has not watched Eternal. She refuses to watch Eternal. So, but Patrick, give me your thoughts, man. Sam Raimi, man, what do he do for you?
Absolute perfection. Like, I didn't grow up with the Evil Dead movies because obviously I'm the young bloke here.
You're 12 years old, so it's okay.
Yeah. I'm 20, but thank you for asking. But when I did watch Evil Dead for the first time, I actually got to experience the trilogy in marathon format in theaters.
Yep.
So Raimi, ever since I saw the Spider-Man trilogy as a kid and then watched Evil Dead when I was a little bit older as a teenager, has always had an impact on me, and I've always really enjoyed Drag Me to Hell. Like, I had a massive argument in high school with my film teacher about Drag Me to Hell, where he said it was rubbish, and I'm there in the middle of class in front of all my classmates arguing, defending the crap out of that film, because I am such a sucker for Drag Me to Hell. But what I love about this movie is that Raimi brought his usual unique directing flair and his style to this film, and it created a movie that had its own voice, which no matter how much I bag on the MCU, I don't hate them. I just don't enjoy them. I bag on them, but I have a lot of respect for the filmmakers and what Feige has done. But unfortunately, I don't feel like any film in the MCU has its own unique voice, or at least hasn't in a long while. Whereas Raimi, what he did with this movie, brought something to the table where he was able to make an MCU film that was a Raimi film before an MCU movie, while also utilizing his usual stick to be able to craft the tone and the film he wanted to make. And Nino mentioned a horror MCU movie was something I've been wanting to see for years. And now it's made me decide that due to when Strange walks through the, does dream walking and goes into one of his dead multiverse forms bodies, awesome, and is literally walking around as like zombie Doctor Strange.
That was the best.
The sequence of Wanda running throughout the facility.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees style.
Voorhees style. Or when, spoiler alert for Mr. X, when she comes out of the fucking red cloud and snaps his neck zombie style.
Amazing.
I'm like, okay, you know what? You say it's not possible with a PG-13 rating. Give it to Sam Raimi and get him to do a Marvel Zombies movie.
Well, and that's the thing. You can get away with a lot.
There's going to be a show.
Yeah, they are doing a show. So, but that's my thing. Like, if you can get away with a ton as long as you don't show obsessive gore. I mean, that's the thing. You can show people being decapitated. I mean, look, I think people forget Thanos was decapitated within the first 20 minutes of Endgame. So, I mean... So, like, there's stuff like this where I really love that Sam Raimi was allowed to do stuff like this. The first viewing of this, when I saw Captain Carter get decapitated, I was like, "Good shit, man."
I thought she was chopped in half. They cut away.
Chopped in half, yeah. But I was just so like, damn, like they went there, and I was, there was a lot of leaks on this film, so I did know that the Illuminati was gonna die going in, but I didn't expect them to kill them off that brutally.
Mm-hmm.
So I really dug that.
In the paper shredder.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That was so
Which
cool.
I guess let's talk about this. Characters in our favorite moments. There's a lot of characters in here. One that we haven't mentioned yet is America Chavez, who I like her powers. I like the look and design that Sam Raimi decided to go with the star and how it's reminiscent of the comics, and even Wong. Wong has some cool moments. But for me, one of the things that I got so hyped about was something that we kind of mentioned. It's Gargantos, but it's Shuma Gorath. I mean, that's Shuma Gorath to me. I don't give one fuck. I love that character since I was a kid. I just love these weird octopus-like things. And when I knew this movie was going to be something cool. When Doctor Strange plucked something out, shoved it in the eye, and plopped it right out. The sound effects, all that stuff, I was in. I was all happy for that. And it's one of my favorite things in the film because it just gets you right in. The musical notes, like you guys mentioned, was excellent. I actually wish we would have gotten more in that entire multiverse world of them walking around. I would have liked for Palmer and him to kind of just have more a little bit discussions here and there with that. But I was so invested with that element, and Sinister Strange, Evil Strange, whatever you want to call it, that musical note part, what Sam Raimi, Danny Elfman, and everyone involved with that scene, that was spectacular. And, you know, and then it just goes down to everything that Wanda does, how dark she is, how visceral. And something that Sam Raimi does that I didn't even mention was the editing. The way that he has these like weird, you know, shots come up are so reminiscent of some of his older films, but they're smart in the way that it does. And it's so stylish, and I loved it. So I'm going to start with Rudy next. Let's go with Rudy. Rudy, okay. You know, favorite character moments, favorite characters in this. What are some of your favorite moments in this?
Well, you know what? I have to admit something, because I was writing up my cons here on my screen, and I was thinking that America Chavez was like a Disney product, because I don't read current comics.
Oh, okay.
I had a whole list of complaints and like why her introduction was lazy, etc., which I still think it was.
I agree, but
whatchamacallit, I find out she is a character. She's been around since 2011. Like, oh, so all my complaints were actually her origin story. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't a Disney product or anything like that. So that's being said, she was kind of the weakest in my opinion, but
she's a plot device. I mean, that's
she's
really
a MacGuffin in a way.
Yeah.
But again, Elizabeth Olsen, in my opinion, she is my favorite MCU character over Iron Man, and I know that may upset people. She has depth. She has emotional weight. You understand the tragedy of her life. She's not everything's a joke. She's in pain, and she's dealing with this in a realistic way, so to speak, in the MCU phase. And just to see her act between an other world, Scarlet Witch, and her possessing her and kind of phasing back and forth, the editing in those sequences was amazing. But she sold the show. But like I said already, Doctor Strange with the Lost Souls cape had me yell, fuck yes.
Yes.
In the theater. I love that. In the zombie sequence, I actually went, I got up and clapped, because I had reminiscent feelings of Army of Darkness. Like, oh, fuck, yes.
It really
was what I want. Yeah. This is awesome. So that's probably my favorite MCU moment. If I made a rankings list, that would be my number one, not the Captain America getting the hammer. None of that shit. That was my favorite moment ever, dude. Well, that was so cool.
A subtle moment you kind of touched on is when she first possessed Wanda for the first time.
Yeah.
The swinging
it's
of the
very
light.
Much so Evil Dead in regards to the Deadite sort of spirit. The Necronomicon flying
the way
throughout
that
the
camera
forest and
looked
through the door. It was very Evil Dead after the Necronomicon is opened.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And Patrick, you know, mentioned it. Favorite character, favorite moment in the film?
Oh, sorry, mate.
No, you're good.
I blanked out for a second there. No, that moment that you literally just mentioned when Wanda does the dream walking for the first time is my favorite moment, because it does so much of showing Wanda's motivation and what she's going to do, while also showing how much pain she is in right beforehand. But then at the same time, truly showcasing Raimi's direction and his vision for the film. And you know what? I'm just going to say it's a bit of a bias because I'm such an Evil Dead fan. Seeing him do that, but with this character, to visualize the transformation of dream walking, I was like, brilliant. That was fucking awesome. And it just makes me a little upset because I know that the Evil Dead movies these days, from my generation especially, are not appreciated. And I know a lot of people my age, 20, 22 years or whatever, are going to be going into this movie being like, what the hell is this? This is so weird. Or they don't understand the references with Bruce Campbell, which is upsetting to me. Side note, am I the only one that thought when Captain Carter was cut in half that I thought it was going to hit her jetpack and she was going to go...
I was hoping that too.
You know, maybe Sam Raimi wanted to do that, and then
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Like,
I would have laughed my ass off. That would have been great, in my opinion.
I don't want to laugh in that moment. One of my crushes died, Patrick.
Dude, my audience was like cheering during all their deaths, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should cheer, laugh, scream.
I was cheering.
I cringed when
gasping in horror.
I can do this all day, though. I will say I cringed.
I like that.
I laughed at one of the deaths. And
I was cheering because they went there. They went there. They actually went there. That's why, like, wow, okay, Marvel, okay. I applaud that. I was excited to see something different.
Very much so. Well, and Ren, let's get to you, man. Favorite character and your favorite moment.
So favorite characters, I'm going to cheat. I usually do it in these situations. I'm going to cheat because I love how Wanda and Strange's journeys through the theme of temptation in this film parallel each other. Where Wanda starts off in this film, she has given in. She's doing everything she can to be with her children, which is extremely compelling. What I love is Strange gets presented to this notion of what could be, of his chance to chase happiness, and throughout this film he's confronted with that chance, and he meets every other version that he of himself that he meets. They have given in. So every time he's trying to prove, no, I'm a good guy, I'll do the right thing, every other version of himself has done the wrong thing. The Defender Strange at the beginning, Sinister Strange, the other one, Supreme Strange, all of them done the right. And I love a movie that does that, that shows the hero proven wrong, and then he has to morally compromise and do the dream walk to the corpse, which is very well set up as a sort of desecration for it. Which one of my favorite moments is when he shows up with the cape and all, he comes to the shrine, and Scarlet Witch just goes, "Dream walking, you hypocrite." And I'm like, yes,
I love that.
yes, he is. And that's interesting. That challenges the character of Stephen Strange.
Yes. And it goes back to the line she said earlier in the movie, in the first one, where she goes, "When you break the rules, you're a hero. When I break the rules, I'm the villain." And
this movie proves her right, which is very well done.
Yeah, and this is something that, you know, thankfully to Ren, I've been getting way more into comics, and one of the big comics things that I've been reading is everything Scarlet Witch over like the last 5-6 months, and I have fucking fallen in love with her from the comics. She is a fascinating fucking character.
Just don't read the Ultimates.
Which one?
Just don't read the Ultimates.
No, I won't. They look boring.
Some of the first comics I have, like in my room, like from '82, are the Vision and the Scarlet Witch. They had their own comic for a while, so I have a bunch of those. So.
And they're great. And that's my thing is, a lot of people think, like my sister was like, "Oh, she died." She did not die. There's no fucking way. I would even bet money she's gonna get her own solo film. I would bet money she's getting her own solo film next. And I think that's the next progression. And if they take the Scarlet Witch comic, where she's pretty much just wandering, exiled from the world, and just killing demons and just saving people, trying to redeem herself in her own eyes, that's what I want to see. I would love just a singular story of just her doing her own shit. And I love that, because it's different than after WandaVision, where she exiled herself, but she exiled herself so she could study this fucking book. And that book corrupted her, and for the most part, where she gave into that temptation. And that's what I loved about it. And speaking of Marvel movies and things like this, Easter eggs galore. We've talked about some Easter eggs already, you know. This does include the cameos with the Illuminati, Mr. Fantastic. I want to address the fucking theory that Ren has had forever, that I talked about, and people are stupid, and I still believe it's a thing. So let's talk about this thing. So obviously, I love the Bruce Campbell stuff, the Army of Dead stuff, all that things. The Illuminati is the biggest thing in here. A lot of people were like, "Who's going to be the members?" All this sorts of things. We got Captain Carter, Captain Marvel, Mordo, Black Bolt.
Blackagar, Boltagon.
Yeah, and Mr. Fantastic and Professor X. Still, they should not have shown Professor X in the marketing.
That was stupid.
Say that. I was literally waiting. I was like, okay, so he's not announced yet. He's going to wheel on in. But the X-Men theme, guys. The X-Men.
No.
Straight out of the animated series. The levitating wheelchair, the green suit. I was like, oh!
Yes, it's so good. But Strange says something to Mr. Fantastic. He said, "Didn't you guys chart in the 1960s? Ren, what is your theory?
Well, the Fantastic Four are known for charting undiscovered territory, whether that be in space, whether that be across several different dimensions, and they are very much a 60s family. Part of what has always made the Fantastic Four interesting is not only that they are like these heroes that come together and are like they are a family with 60s values, 60s understandings of the world in all its qualities and flaws. And if you read the comics to this day, they keep the best runs, at least keep that quality. And so my theory has been for a while that the Fantastic Four in the MCU are going to have existed in the 60s. They're going to go down to the quantum realm, which is going to be the MCU's correspondent to the negative zone from the comics. They're going to get trapped. And in this little movie that involves Reed Richards' descendant, Kang the Conqueror, in Ant-Man Quantumania, they're going to get plucked out of the quantum realm into the 21st century, having just been trapped in there for like 2 weeks. So like a very minimal amount.
But to them, but for us, it's been decades.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I think it'll be interesting to see how does this 60s family with a 60s understanding of the world, particularly a 60s America understanding of the world, get acquainted to today. Like, how does Reed Richards, how does Sue Storm get acquainted with the world today, where women have much more freedom and all that? I'm interested to see a Ben Grimm who's cast as with a black actor, to see how that person, to parallel his insecurities as a rock creature, gets paralleled to the world of today, from the 60s to the world of today. I think it would be extremely interesting and be something to make them interesting for a general audience. So it's not just, hey, here's another team of superheroes, which I'll eat up, sure, but let's make it stand out, I think.
And you do still think they're going to show up in Ant-Man 3, right?
I still think they're going to show up in Ant-Man 3.
Okay. Plus, Peyton Reed has discussed how much he wants to do a Fantastic Four movie. He's directing Ant-Man 3. That's my thing. That's how I took that line. Now, I understand that there's a fucking band out there called the Fantastic Four, but that is such a deep cut. That is such a fucking deep cut. And maybe that's the thing. But it could also mean both. I'm just saying, like, can't we just have fun and, agree with that
Also,
joke?
can I say something, Zach? For as much as I love the MCU, and the MCU is my fucking life, that reference that people called you out on, that Doctor Strange at the beginning of the original movie, during surgery, he illustrates his knowledge about music and about charts and all that. Like, Marvel did not even remember to anywhere throughout the entire first movie reference that ever again. So I don't think they would remember to reference that again in this one movie for the one time, if it was that.
Yeah, it's
again,
weird.
For as much as I love Marvel,
like that,
I don't think they remember that.
No, and they didn't do it at all throughout the beginning of the film either. Like, they could have reminded you with the small scene of him, I don't know, at the wedding. He hears music and he goes, "Oh, yada yada yada," like something. I don't know. But seriously enough, I love what they were able to do. Not sold on John Krasinski yet. I'll be honest with that.
I'm not either.
But I'm not sold because there wasn't enough of him. Everyone else I'm sold on because I've seen them before. I've seen their characters before for the most part. Even Black Bolt, like, I liked what they did with him. And really much shout out to Anson, because he can't emote too much, but you saw the pain in his eyes when he did see Doctor Strange, when you see that he had to kill him, all sorts of things like that.
He can't talk. He can't emote.
He can't. But it's all in his eyes. So a lot of shout out has to be given to Anson, because he was given a very monstrosity, shitty fucking show. And I thought he was great in here. I really liked what they were able to do. Me too. But I really dug. I like John Krasinski. I like what they had him do. I needed more of him. Maybe I just needed him to be more of a badass than fucking string cheese. I just so. But
I actually wanted to see him do something. I think we didn't do anything because we're gonna see him do a lot of things.
He stretched into frame.
Hopefully,
he stretched
exactly.
He did. I missed that. Wow.
He stretched. Yes. So Patrick, what was one of your favorite moments, man?
Regarding Easter eggs, I think for me, it was just noticing that car, because I was looking out for it the entire movie, and I'm just like, where is it? We're like halfway through the movie and introduced to the Illuminati. I'm like, wait, is it not going to be in like this one Raimi film? Because I actually think during the tornado scene, it was even in Oz the Great and Powerful. I think. Don't quote me on that.
I believe
but
it.
Yeah. Then I saw that and I'm like, yes! Like, even though it was just a car turning up and most people probably didn't even notice it, I actually sat there in my theater going, okay. Like, no one else noticed it. But I think for me, in regards to like the Easter eggs, I think it was just nice to see like Black Bolt on the screen, to actually see, the characters within the Illuminati, like this different iteration of Captain Marvel. We've got Captain Carter in there. Seeing Professor X return, played by Sir Patrick Stewart, was just everything to me. And I got really upset with my sister, who said that he was the worst actor in the entire movie, which made me very, very upset. I don't know, just seeing Sir Patrick Stewart back as Professor X was just everything to me because as a kid,
Yeah.
the X-Men movies were everything to me. I watched Last Stand on repeat over and over again.
Why don't
And
you
I'm
watch
not
good
ashamed of them.
X-Men movies?
Because X-Men 1 and 2 are schlocky ball fests.
You're insane.
I
Rudy,
do
what
like
about
First Class and Days of Future Past. I love those films.
There you go. Man.
That's good.
There you go. Rudy,
are
what
the
about
best.
you?
Okay.
Favorite Easter egg, man?
Easter egg and cameos, right? That's what we're talking.
Yeah.
Easter eggs. I'll be honest. I haven't seen. I don't subscribe to Disney Plus, so I haven't seen WandaVision or anything like that. So I wasn't really looking for Marvel specific Easter eggs other than Sam Raimi, and I've already explained that. Bruce Campbell in the car was what I was looking for. As far as cameos, I didn't care. I really didn't. I heard Tom Cruise was going to be in there. I heard the Hulk, but the Richard Bana Hulk was going to be in there. Deadpool, all these Spider. I heard all these theories, and I'm glad that didn't happen. What they had was just fine. The only thing I didn't like was bringing back Patrick Stewart because his death in Logan was the perfect send off for his character, in my opinion. And him and Hugh Jackman shouldn't be touched. Go recast them, sincerely.
But it's not the same though.
He's 88 years old.
Okay.
But I get
Fair
what you're
enough.
saying. He's I love him all the way since the Next Generation days. He's an amazing actor. But I just think going and moving onward and doing something else. So when I saw him, it was kind of lackluster, but it did bring a smile to my face. I really wasn't too impressed with Captain Carter or Captain Marvel or anything like that. But seeing how powerful Wanda was and how she just destroyed them within 5 minutes was unbelievably awesome to me.
And I think there's something to really look at that group of the Illuminati is that, they condemned their Strange, but in the same sense, they should be condemned because they thought they could beat Wanda.
Yeah.
That really thought
that's the Illuminati. That's the Illuminati in the comics.
And that's what I love about it, though, is that I think we will get an Illuminati in our world eventually, probably, with Strange. I'm sure
I
Ren
think
has
our
thoughts on
Strange
that.
knowing this is going to create our version of the Illuminati. That's what I feel.
Is that what this phase is leading to? Because I don't know. Because in the first phase, I knew it was the Infinity War. Everybody knew that's what the lead up was. I don't know.
It's very weird.
This phase is. I think right now they're happy with standalone stories to enjoy the ride itself. Like see these new heroes that are starting to be very hardcore, which I'm personally excited by. Like. I know of Miss Marvel. I've never read a single issue of her like solo runs. I read her in like Young Avengers, in Champions, in team ups. But I'm excited to finally see a story about her come to life. Then I think we're going to be to Illuminati. But I feel like what they're building ultimately to like the throughout 4 phases build up, like Infinity War was, like the Infinity Saga was. I think we're going to Secret Wars.
Yeah,
that's why we're including the multiverse. Secret Invasion is also coming in,
and I think in the battleground of it all, they are expanding. Here's the cosmic realm. Here's the boots to the ground stuff. Here's the multiverse. Here's the magic. They're expanding all their different horizons. So there's other things going on, but the lead up will be Secret Wars with Kang and whatever they want to do with that. Because I still think Kang is going to be the main villain, which. You didn't watch Loki at all, Rudy, right?
No.
So you have no idea who that is. But
I know Kane is, but I didn't watch from the comics back in the day. But I don't know.
Loki's really good. Loki's
I hear that.
Really good. So, but yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs in here, a lot of fun surprises, and that's where I kind of want to jump into. Let's jump into the ending. Ending explained. Now, I'm definitely not going to be the person for this. That is why Ren is here because Ren did a great ending explained video that you guys should go watch. Can you tell us? So there's 2 end credit scenes. The easiest one to explain is Bruce Campbell.
Nothing to explain about the second one.
That was awesome.
No, it's fun. It's whatever.
It's fun.
And
I love it. It's better than the Ant playing the drums. I hated that one. I hated it.
Which was in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as the Matrix post-credit scene, but that's an entire other conversation.
It's not as bad as the Matrix.
Did you see the new Matrix, Rudy?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Did you watch the end credit scene?
I didn't know there was one.
Oh yeah, it's a cat joke. Yeah. She did it as a fuck you to people.
I need to check that out then. Okay.
It's the stupidest.
But now Rudy can watch it at home, so it won't be as bad.
Yeah.
Like, you
when you're sitting
through the credits.
When you're watching it in the theater,
you're like you're pissed because you just wasted all that time. I get that.
Yeah,
exactly. I wasted all the time at midnight. That's the shit cherry on top of the shit cake, which was the Matrix.
Yeah. So this is where we kind of get into ending explained. So Clea, or well, let's start reverse back. Everything's gone. Scarlet Witch has destroyed the Darkhold in every universe. Strange is back at home. America Chavez is learning some cool magic, but she's sucking at it. Wong, he finally bows to Wong, accepts this, goes back home.
It's a good moment.
It really is. I love him and Benedict Wong's whole entire relationship, and I
love seeing their shorthand in this film. Finally seeing them, because like again, as someone who really loves that original Doctor Strange, finally seeing a Doctor Strange-led movie where he's master of his own abilities and now he's working together with Wong, and they still have that banter where Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme and all that, and I just love that dynamic.
Very much so, and that's where it kind of goes to that next part. He's all happy. He's walking down the street. Fucking has like some type of seizure in the street. Fucking eyeball pops out. Ends right there. Very, very, like, let me say this. It feels rushed.
Very Sam
like,
Raimi.
I have a lot of issues with the way that the film feels rushed in certain elements, and I just wish the film was like 10, 15 more minutes longer.
I agree.
But that was a flat-out Evil Dead ending. Because Evil Dead has always ended in the most bullshit ways, where just once you have him more. Ash vs. the Evil Dead ended that way, and I want more, but I expect that. When he went up, you see the eye, you're like, damn. And then there's another end credit scene. He's walking through the street again, and Charlize Theron is right behind him as Clea. And she goes, what does she say, Ren? She's caused
Doctor Strange, you've caused an incursion. You need to come with me. Opens a portal to the dark dimension. Are you afraid? He says, not in the least. There they go.
Yep, and that's it. So, Ren, who's Clea?
So Clea, in the comics, it's always important to state in the comics because you never know what the MCU is going to do because they love picking stuff from the comics and make it their own thing. Like they did Baron Mordo. Mordo is a much better character in the MCU than he ever was in the comics. I'll tell you right now.
Yep.
He's actually compelling in the comics. So Clea, in the comics, she is the niece of Dormammu. That's the main big bad of the original film. She has been many things to Doctor Strange. She has been a hunter of Doctor Strange, chasing him to please her uncle to kill him. She has been an apprentice of Doctor Strange. She has been an ally to Doctor Strange. She has been the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension after Dormammu was not defeated, but imprisoned for a time. Very similar to how Doctor Who doesn't really kill his villains, just does something with them that is not killing, but takes them out of the picture for a while.
It's too complicated.
Exactly. She has, I just wanted to drop a reference that someone here would understand. Yes. And she has been even the wife of Doctor Strange. They even got married at one point. And as of last year, up until as of this live stream, it might change tomorrow, it might change Wednesday, I don't know. She is the Sorcerer Supreme of the Marvel Universe. She is Doctor Strange herself after Stephen Strange was murdered. I know all this, but I still don't know who murdered him because I haven't read the story, so no spoilers.
So there you go. That is Clea. With Charlize Theron playing her, I mean, you got a fucking badass actress playing her.
On me.
Like, I love her. I've ran into her once at South by Southwest. She was absolutely drunk as shit after Long Shot. And she came out on stage when Boyz II Men came out to perform, and she goes, I thought you guys were going to hate this movie, and that's why I'm drunk. And it was very funny. But for me, I've always loved her as an actress. For me, Furiosa, she was fucking powerful in there. Yeah. And then, you know, looking at what Fast and Furious, she's arguably like one of the better aspects of the films. So I love this casting. And while I have no recollection of what's going to be happening next, and I do feel like the end credit seems a little bit rushed with Strange just going, okay, I'll go fucking with you. I really dig that entire thing. So I'm really excited to see kind of what we get next with Strange and her. What about you guys? Rudy and Patrick, do you guys know anything about her at all or no?
I'll be honest. I sent this to Zach a couple days ago. Like, first off, I thought the ending was perfect. Cliffhanger, cut the scene, perfect. I was like, all right, leave it at that. I thought the mid-post credit scene ruined the momentum and the feeling that I have. I walked out like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Because it ended perfectly. I had questions. Like, I was excited what's going to happen. And then, you know, the next scene, he's just walking out like nothing happened. I'm like, you just canceled out the ending. This makes no sense. And then Charlize Theron comes out. I'm like, who's this? I thought she was Sindel for Mortal Kombat because I had no idea who she was. And I'm like, is the Mortal Kombat universe now merging with the MCU? What's going on? I had
Too
no
bad
idea
you will die.
That's exactly what I thought. And I'm like, oh man, so I love the ending with, the cliffhanger ending. That was perfect. But I thought for the first time in a Marvel movie, maybe I'm overstating this here, but I thought the post credit scene ruined the momentum of the film.
I will somewhat agree with Rudy, because to me that should have been the ending. Because I agree. Cause if you're gonna have that, that's what I was gonna say. If you're gonna have it, because otherwise, if you're not gonna have that specific scene, I think with Rudy is that the actual ending, the third eye opening, is very interesting. Because at the end of the day, they both lead to the same direction. The post credit scene is just more specific. So if you're gonna drop it, just drop it as the ending.
Yeah,
and
drop them both at the same time.
Have those 10 or 15 minutes that you talked about, Zach. I would put all of those on the third act. From the moment the shrine collapses and Wanda sacrifices herself, let's now breathe a little bit with those conclusions. Let's have that scene in Camartage. Let's have Doctor Strange out in New York, third eye, and
let's have Strange have a little bit more of a conversation with Christine Palmer before she goes back.
Christine, like when he talks to her about "I love you" never you. That's potent, and then it's just over. So have it all just breathe a little bit more. Give us something real quick between the third eye opening and then he's walking out in New York again, and then she comes in. That's the ending. So I agree with Rudy. I just think it's badly distributed there a bit.
Yeah, it's just right. I mean, that's really all it is. And there was a cut of this film that was like 2 hours and 35 minutes, which for people who want to know, that is not cameos. That was not cameos. We'll talk. I start a question.
It was very different story directions, though.
Yeah,
so
there is. Which, if you want to know the actual story, it's out on the internet. If you really want to go find out what the story is, you can go find it. It's on the internet before reshoots. Then they went into reshoots and they changed. Pretty much my understanding, they added more of what people loved. So Sam Raimi's directing let him do a little bit more of what he wanted to do. Shortened up the story a bit, got rid of some other things, and added one cameo, which from my understanding...
The story is more streamlined, but it's still near those 10 minutes. I think we can talk about the one role that was changed.
Do you want to say... You can say it.
Yeah, because so Rachel McAdams was going to play Clea as well. She was going to play the character Charlize Theron is playing now, which I think would have been awful. I love Miss McAdams, don't get me wrong. I want to see more of her. I'm glad she and Benedict kind of finally got a little bit more time to bounce off of one another. But this whole story was about Strange getting over his ex-girlfriend. It doesn't need his next girlfriend to look exactly
the same. Which, from my understanding, that's why they changed it. And Charlize was already in talks for something at Marvel. So then I think
she was the liar.
So which is interesting. And, the other thing they added in the reshoots was John Krasinski. Krasinski was not in the original cut. There was no Mr. Fantastic. It was a different Illuminati member.
Okay, that's not what I've heard. Yeah. The one I know they changed was Maria Rambeau. How do I put this delicately? If real life didn't suck, instead of Captain Marvel, that would have been T'Challa Star-Lord.
Yeah, that's which I 100%. But yeah, from my understanding, Krasinski came in on the 6 weeks reshoots. So because he was doing something else during the time when they were actually filming all that stuff.
So that's maybe why.
Yeah, so there's some interesting things, and this is where let's start jumping into the viewer questions, guys. So we do have a couple already. I've already started some, so start throwing them in now. Again, please pertain them to only the MCU and Multiverse of Madness. If they are not that, I probably will not pick them as well. If you want a guaranteed answer it in a super chat. If you ask me what's my favorite food in a super chat, I'll probably answer that because you sent.
What's your favorite food that you see in Multiverse of Madness?
Oh, the pizza.
Not the tea. Not the
pizza. The pizza little balls. Like the pizza Papa's making. So Joe Fletcher asked, do you think John Krasinski will be playing Mr. Fantastic in the main MCU? This is one of the biggest questions. Walking out of the film, I said no. Then Ren sent me a big long ass fucking discussion on why he will be yada yada yada.
Here's why.
And now I'm more in on it. And after seeing it a second time and seeing the audience reaction to him, yes, I think he will be. And I say this because if you don't get him back, whoever is going to be Mr. Fantastic, the audience, you'll already have a peg down for the audience. That's the way I view it. So like my friend absolutely screamed his fucking little lungs out when John Krasinski showed up. I love him, and he's that type. He loves Krasinski as an actor, so he was so hyped. And first thing he says is, better be Mr. Fantastic. I don't care if someone else is. So I think that is where you do lose that. Where if you're going to have fun with this, I think you do. And I also say he's probably going to be directing the film. There's a reason John Watts dropped out. There's a reason all that stuff happened. So what about you guys? I want to ask Patrick, let's start with you. Do you think he's going to be Mr. Fantastic?
Yes, and there's a big reason for that, because one of the things I've noticed about the MCU is that even though in No Way Home the different Spider-Men were different actors, I think that was mainly for a thing of like the different universes with the different franchises from Sony. When it comes to this, though, everything we've seen in regards to Maria Rambeau and everything is the same as she was in Captain Marvel, and then in regards to Doctor Strange, like it's the same actor and the same visual outlook and presence from every different multiverse. So for me, if they changed Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic to someone else, I don't think it would entirely make a lot of sense, and I think it would be a very poor choice on their behalf. Not that I wouldn't be all for giving someone else a spotlight and seeing what they would do. I just think because no one in my theater knew who Black Bolt was. No one in my theater really even cheered for Krasinski. I mean, not Krasinski, Stewart. But when it came to Krasinski, everyone cheered so much.
Well, that's the thing. If they didn't spoil Patrick Stewart in the trailer, that audience would have flipped the fuck out.
Yes.
I really
my audience still flipped the fuck out.
Did they? Mine didn't. Mine flipped out on Captain Carter.
Yeah, both.
And Krasinski.
No, not even for Captain Carter. No one flipped out for Captain Carter in my screening. I don't even think anyone in my theater knew who Black Bolt was.
No, mine didn't either.
Yeah.
Not
Can
surprised.
I just say, very happy, even though I don't like the Inhumans show, that they got the same actor, Anson Mount, to play Black Bolt. Very happy. He was the best part of
I'm
that
happy
show.
because I know Vin Diesel's been wanting. Don't fucking give it to him.
No.
No,
He
he's
can't
good.
even.
That's it.
No.
Leave him be. You're done.
Just Groot. That's all I wanted to be.
But,
Rudy, what about you, man? What do you think? Do you want him to continue playing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm either for it or against it. I mean, I have no weight in it, but he's a marketable name. Everybody knows him from The Office, and of course, he's an amazing director now with A Quiet Place. So he's got a reputable brand, and everybody likes him. So I think he did great. I think he did okay for the small role he had in this particular film. I just don't see them going away from that. I mean, again, that makes sense what you said. Yeah, we'll bring you on, but as long as I get to direct the Fantastic Four movie, I hope that happens. But yeah,
I think he would kill it as a director.
Yeah, I think he would.
My check, Feige.
I hope they bring it back.
Yeah, Ren, what about you? I know you still contend this. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I did an entire video on why this is. I do believe he's going to be our Mr. Fantastic. I also, if you'll allow me, let's all put our proverbial tinfoil hats on. What if John Watts? You just mentioned that John Krasinski just came in the most recent reshoots. What if that's the reason that John Watts left? Because John Krasinski came in and he's not only starring, he's also directing the Fantastic.
And I think because what is it? Kevin was like, yeah, we're still going to work with John later in the future. So who says John Watts doesn't come? Which I prefer Krasinski as the director, to be honest. Like nothing against Watts. I would rather have Krasinski direct this movie.
I agree.
Or honestly, Brad Bird or
and I'll even say this, which is a little bit summing up what I say in the video, that every other character actor combination that we have in the Illuminati is a reference, except this one, and to me it stands out.
Which films Griffin's in here. And just said hot take. I think John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness proved why that casting is such a bad idea, and he was so distracting and stilted. And this is another reason, though.
Breaking my heart, man.
Oh, wait, won't Krasinski be busy directing Imaginary Friends for Paramount? That is true. So it depends on when is Fantastic Four filming, because Imaginary Friends is filming this year, later this year. So I guess we will see where this kind of goes. Next thing
when is Imaginary Friends supposed to come out?
Next year, end of next year.
Next year, so we would shoot this year, and then right after that, he would be shooting Fantastic Four. I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that it doesn't get in each other's way as far as what we know now.
Mm-hmm. Nathan, I know now at least. Yeah. What do you think was cut out of the film? There's a lot out there that I'll just say that you can go figure out. Do not believe that Tom Cruise and stuff like that was supposed to be in
No.
this. They never filmed, and
No.
if they did film something, you really think they're gonna cut out a Tom Cruise fucking cameo? There's no way. So there's a lot they cut out. A lot of stuff I will say happens to do with Wanda and her motivations and what happens with her actually. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Which character from Marvel do you think should have been in the Illuminati? Namor. Yep, Namor. Namor is the one.
Oh, yeah.
He's already casted in the MCU. Well, technically,
we'll be seeing him very soon. I'll say.
Yeah. So definitely. Anyone else from you guys that you guys cared to have added?
Thor variant. Maybe even a Thor variant.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
actually
like,
agree with Thor. Yeah.
Because she's turning up in Love and Thunder, maybe even the almighty Thor, Jane Foster.
That would have been cool.
Ah,
That would've been cool.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be Namor, a Black Panther variant too. Would have won.
I will say I don't know how it was one of my theories, though. I don't, having seen the combination, I don't know how it would work, but it would have been interesting to see another Kang variant.
Yeah.
As a part of the Illuminati.
So
I could have thought that they were going that way when I found out that they were doing the Illuminati. I actually thought
exactly.
I actually genuinely thought, and then the movie I saw it, I'm like, wait, where's Kang?
I thought that when the rumors came out that Loki and Sylvie were going to be in the film, which turned out completely untrue. Which I'm kind of happy they weren't. So yeah.
Yep,
that's what
exactly. Next, we got Joe Fletcher ask again. Multiverse Madness has made $450 million globally in opening weekend. How much do you think it makes at the end of the day? Billion. Just right
you
after
think billion?
Yeah.
Yeah. $1 billion, $2 billion. This is gonna make a lot of money.
I think
it'll
it might make around
like
1
point something.
1.5 now, maybe.
Yeah. MCU fans, I mean, not only do they see it 3-4 times in the theater if they love it, so that's what really gets them into billions all the time. So, and plus, it's got the market appeal, so it's going to make a lot of money.
I'm reserving my right to change my mind on the next week to see how the legs extend, but right now I'm going to say just shy of 1 billion.
Really?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go 900 million. I'm gonna go very high. It's just right now I'm going to say just doesn't hit it. But we'll see. Okay. Hopefully it does. It's a good movie.
Tony Movie Chappie asks, question for you guys. Would you have liked to have seen a Deadpool cameo in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, or were you fine with him not being in there? So, as a giant Deadpool fan...
That scene? You guys didn't get the scene with Deadpool?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Don't
piss me off.
You didn't see where Mr. Fantastic turned himself into a rubber for him to use?
No. I don't know what version you watched, man. I will say this, from my understanding, there was plans to have a Deadpool cameo, but in the end of the day, it came down to, does it make sense to put in here? And no, it did not for the story that they were telling, and I'm happy they didn't, as much as I want to see Deadpool in the MCU. He's coming. It's all that matters to me, and whenever we finally get it, I just hope the movie is better than the second one. So, anything else you guys want to add to this one? Do you guys want to see it?
If I can just add something, again, I've been pretty clear. I'm not a big MCU fan, but it speaks volumes that people are rooting and wanting cameos versus a solid story.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like the excitement of these films is not just to go see a great film. They want to see other characters, which I think is a detriment. And I mean, whatever you like, go ahead and enjoy it. But when cameos and post-credit scenes are the main thing you're looking for, you're not really your expectations are getting in the way of the experience, and you're going to be disappointed because you've already painted a picture in your mind of what you want, and when it's not there, you're going to walk out saying it sucks. So I think that's a detriment way or a bad way to go into a movie theater expecting cameos and all these theories that you bought into. That's just my 2 cents.
Yep. No,
I agree. I'm with Rudy. As much as I love the MCU, I think we'd have some great discussions here because we're coming from two very different places. Like, that's what I was afraid of with Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I didn't feel at the end. Where this, again, fan service. I always say fan service is a tool of storytelling, like everything else in movies is a tool of storytelling. It's how you use it. And to me, Spider-Man: No Way Home, which used it even better than this movie, but still, this movie used it in the favor of the story. Showed us their characters' power levels, and now look at what Wanda does with these powerful characters. And it was all in service, didn't get in the way. It still enhanced Wanda and Strange and their involvement in the story. And I think that's a good use of fan service. That's a good use of Easter eggs, of cameos, of all that. If we got out of the film and we were just talking about the Illuminati scene, which was great, but was like 15 minutes of the film, it would have been a very poor film. I got out of that film. I was talking about everything else.
Yep, exactly. G. Colby asks, you guys think after the mid-credit scene that this is going to go into Secret Wars? Ren can explain this. I think you kind of did explain this, Ren. Yeah, definitely. I think
the post-credit scene specifically, I think we can see an MCU version of The Oath, which, if you ever want to get into comics, The Oath is like the greatest Doctor Strange comic, story ever. And I will say this, as a massive Doctor Strange fan, Doctor Strange has never had my favorite kind of art style, let's say. Like, for as much as I love certain stories, I'm not like a particular fan of this art style, but diverging. Read The Oath, because I think that's like what they're adapting for the next one. Because you can't bring Doctor Strange.
When do you guys think we get the next one? When do you guys think we get the next 3 years, 4 years?
2025, 2026 maybe, but I don't think they'll do it until after Blade comes out.
Let's wait till Comic-Con. They'll probably announce it at Comic-Con, particularly with the film doing so well. Yeah.
I just don't think that they will release it before Blade comes out. The Mahershala.
Because Blade's gonna go into filming this year. So that's
Zach,
filming this year.
To your question, any Illuminati characters I would have loved to have seen? Wesley Snipes.
I would
have loved to have seen that.
Nice.
That would have been great.
I
still have a gut feeling they're gonna have him have a role in Blade.
Yeah, he looks great still. Why not?
Isn't he helping produce?
Is what?
I don't think so.
I heard something about Wesley Snipes being a part of the production in some form.
I think he wants to be. I don't think so.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought he
Marvel
was.
Wants to pay the
That's
tax.
my bad. That's my bad.
Next. So my question is, explain how Doctor Strange was in the post-credit of WandaVision, but was in No Way Home. Did he not go see Wanda before the events of No Way Home? He is not in the post-credit scenes of WandaVision. I don't know why people think that is a theory.
No.
So,
I remember this. That people thought they saw an unfocused thing coming in, and people thought it was a trend.
That is actually it has actually come out of why they changed that. They changed it because originally the opening scene for this film was completely different than what we got. I don't know. It's out there. I mean, can we talk about it? Should we talk about it? It's out there.
Do it. Spoiler talk, man. Do it.
I
don't know. Tell me.
Okay. So in the original scene opening, it was supposed to be our Mordo hunting down Wanda in that cabin area, and then her decapitating him and killing him. And that would have
been sweet.
That's how it ends.
Oh, that would have been.
No, it wouldn't. I don't want Mordo to die.
Yeah.
I want Mordo to die.
So
no, he's a compelling character. Let him live.
So yeah, definitely. That's where that kind of goes. Another question. Do you think it's possible that we might get a director's cut to Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, or at least get some deleted scenes? Deleted scenes, sure. Director's cut? Fuck no. This ain't Snyder cut. I don't know why people think we need a director's cut for every single thing. Not every director's, is getting everything,
It's a valid question in this situation, though.
Yeah, I get it, but has any Marvel film ever had a director cut, MCU wise?
No, and they didn't need
to.
I
was gonna say the X-Men movies and Deadpool 2 did, but that's about it from what I can think of.
Yeah,
but has any other MCU director been like Sam Raimi? I mean, because other than the Russo brothers and Sam Raimi, I can't name another MCU director.
James Gunn, Taika Waititi.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Chloe Zhao.
Yeah,
I can name more. I just didn't want to waste time.
Please. Good point.
Why can I remember Alan Taylor? Why am I thinking Alan Taylor from fucking Thor: The Dark World?
I was gonna say
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh.
Movie.
Nah. Yes. Arguably, maybe.
Well, you agree with me on that.
I would rather watch Thor Ragnarok, but I don't even love Thor Ragnarok.
You don't like Ragnarok.
Thank you. I can't watch it no more. It's like Batman Forever. It's just too funny. It's great, but it's just too funny, man. It's like
that's all the drama.
I think it's way better than the first two Thor movies, which I think are terrible.
Oh my god. All right, next question. Joe Fletcher. I truly think this is the Iron Man 3 of this phase after hearing reactions this weekend. Me and Ren discussed this yesterday. We do not think this. So I'm curious to see if you two as well.
I don't entirely disagree, but I think you made a better point that there's another movie that's a better comparison to the Iron Man 3 of this phase.
And that movie is Eternals. I think Eternals is more of the divisive film in the MCU. Because everyone I know either fucking hates that movie or really likes it.
I need to give it another shot. I need to give it another shot because I didn't like it the first time.
I adore. Let me ask this, Rudy. Do you like hard sci-fi? Are you offended like the hard sci-fi genre?
I grew up a Trekkie, man. So yeah.
I think you're gonna like Eternals because that's Marvel doing
didn't like it.
hard
I saw it, but I fell asleep. Again, I want to give it
Exactly.
another try. I want to give it another
That's
try.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
okay, Patrick, what about you, man? Do you think this Iron Man 3 type stuff?
No, because there's nothing in the film that is nearly as, like, I understand all the narrative issues, but it's not one of those things where, like, it's a divisive thing from a way that they handle a character like the Mandarin that divides people a bunch on the internet. Because I remember that being a big thing among other things with Iron Man 3. I personally love Iron Man 3. I love that film, actually. But there's nothing really nearly as divisive in Multiverse of Madness like there is in Eternals to make it like the Iron Man 3. And I also really enjoyed Eternals. Like, Eternals and Doctor Strange.
And you weren't excited.
No, I wasn't. It was a massive surprise, but I think it's because I had such lowered expectations for that film that I loved it so much and I've enjoyed it so much on rewatches. And I think that's a big reason. This is just a personal thing. Expectations, I think, are going to hurt Multiverse of Madness because it's the multiverse and, like, people are wanting all the cameos. I think it is going to hurt people and how they perceive the film, admittedly. Again, enjoy what you want to enjoy. Enjoy what you don't enjoy what you don't enjoy. That's fine. But I think just having... I don't remember who it was on Twitter. It might have been one of you guys, but having leveled expectations is almost impossible when going into a film, especially within a franchise as big as the MCU. But sometimes if your expectations are too high, no matter how excited you are, it can damage your viewing experience.
Oh yeah.
I've been victim of that too many times with previous films. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's the Iron Man 3. I think that definitely has to go to Eternals because the structure, the pacing, and the story of Eternals is so familiar yet so different than anything we saw in the MCU. Whereas even though this is more a Raimi film, it's definitely got more of the MCU structure there that will draw in regular audiences.
Yeah,
so
perfectly said.
I always say leave the expectations at the door.
Exactly.
I talk with Zach about it all the time. It's something you need to train yourself for. Like, it's not something that you just that's it.
What's helped?
You need to train yourself for it. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. What's helped me, honestly, is I only watch the teaser now. I don't watch a second, third, or fourth trailer, TV spots.
Good.
Yeah, I
stay away from all that. Just a teaser, and that's really helped.
Here.
I don't have a
Same here. I do that with every movie.
If I didn't do reactions, I would be able to do that. I used to never watch trailers. I used to, and that's why indie films like The Northman, I didn't see a single fucking trailer for. I didn't watch a single trailer for The Northman.
I still need to see it because
it's amazing.
I saw the first teaser. That was it, and
Rudy, have you seen Everything Everywhere yet? Everything.
It's
Everywhere
the best multiverse movie I've ever seen. It's amazing. I cried a tear of joy, and I feel nothing. I'm dead inside. I actually, I felt something, man.
Is it out there? Is it out there yet? Everything Everywhere.
Do
you know what I'm
here.
Yeah, is it out?
It's out. I just haven't had a chance to go see it. The last couple of weeks have been so busy, but it is on my calendar. I'm going to do a double feature with what is it? The Northman.
That's a great double feature. All right, leading in. David
finally if anyone in the UK is watching, it's finally coming out here this week. My review is finally up tomorrow.
Hell
yes. And finally put it up.
Will the Darkhold or maybe its runes be brought back since it had so little screen time and not so significant effects on the MCU and yet has been deleted in all realities? What do you guys think?
I don't think it's going to return because with Strange and the Eye and everything, it just wouldn't make sense for it to return. Because if I'm not mistaken, from something that a buddy of mine explained to me, the Eye is actually meant to... It unlocks more or less new sorcery abilities for Strange, and he does basically get a power boost in a way. If I'm not mistaken, Ren, is that correct? Do you know?
Yes, he's now more powerful. He can now willingly dreamwalk, see into other universes. He can cross into other universes without dreamwalking if he wants to.
Yeah, so he can use basically the spells and the powers of the Darkhold without being corrupted by it. So really bringing the Darkhold back wouldn't make sense for that, considering he's already had this, which could provide another challenge for the multiverse and everything, because maybe there's another character who's done this already prior as well. Maybe even another variant of Wanda or another variant of Strange himself, as we saw in this film with the corrupted Strange, but he was still holding the Darkhold. So I personally don't think it's going to return. That's done. Wanda, committed, unalived herself, I should say.
Cancel the subscription to Life.
Exactly, by collapsing the ruins of the Darkhold on top of herself, but we know she's not dead.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
So awesome.
I think I'm with Patrick. I don't think speaking in WWE terms, you don't raise a character to main event status to only take them out of the story, you know. And
That's exactly right.
they set up Chthon, a very underground per se comic book character, but they mentioned him, and that spark of red energy once the shrine collapsed could be. I think it's very much the sign that one is alive, but could also be that Chthon is free from imprisonment or something.
Yep.
Another sign that one is possibly alive is something I noticed from my second viewing. Two things. One, when the thing is collapsing, you see a big puff of red, which is probably her just disappearing. Yeah. I'm like, she teleported out of there before fucking anything happened. Yeah, and because she'd used the Darkhold, she'd probably actually like teleported through universes or whatever.
If you don't see, well, that's the thing. If you don't see a body, they did not die.
Exactly. I follow the rule because I've been.
They can have not died.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been duped by it too many times, and I think the biggest culprit of it was Escape Room 2 last year.
Don't say anything. I still haven't seen it. I don't want to know anything. I know that sounds stupid, but I really.
I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna spoil it or anything. I'm just gonna say a particular.
What
character,
are you talking about?
Escape Room 2. I can't say it though. I can't say it though. Damn it! But that basically falls into the rule that was saying that if you didn't see that character die,
I fell for it too.
Yeah, and when that happened, I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. How on? By the way, there were 2 versions of that movie released in
I need to watch the second version. I watched it once in the theaters, and I'm like,
it has the girl from Orphan. The girl from Orphan is in the other version. She plays the daughter of the person who created the organization. I'm like, what?
Okay, I want to watch this movie.
By the way, Zach, that is not the theatrical version. That is like the completely different director version, apparently. There were 2 versions of this movie completely different.
Joe Fletcher asks, how much of this movie did you guys know beforehand? I turned out I knew a lot about it.
Most of it.
Yeah, I knew
anything.
Okay, so I knew nearly
Twitter sucks, man.
Everything. Yeah, nearly everything. There was a couple differences because the reshoots changed a bit, but other than that,
I knew Clea was in the movie. I knew all the members of the Illuminati, except for Captain Marvel. That was like the last member of the Illuminati. I was like, who's that person? Because I knew there were 6, because there's always 6. I knew.
Real fast.
Sinister. Yeah,
you said that. Did you notice there was an empty chair in the Illuminati? No one was sitting next to.
Because it was Mordo's. He wasn't set down yet.
Yeah, he did. I thought he sat next to. I thought he was sitting next to Professor X.
He was sitting next to, and then there wasn't. So there were 5 chairs, and then Professor X has his own chair. He doesn't need to sit down. He's always sat down. I knew Sinister Strange had the Darkhold, and then other things that I knew were changed.
So I know Rudy said no. Patrick, you said yes. So kind of.
Well, I texted you about it. I think saying that I was trying to avoid spoilers, but I was spoiled in there because my mate sent me a text and he's like, "Oh, is this trailer real?" And it was like one of those fake fan made final trailers, but somehow they got a HD screenshot of the Illuminati facing Wanda in the room
that went out for a while.
Decimated, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, that whole entire scene got leaked out beforehand. So, G. Colby asks, where would you rank this with the other Phase 4 MCU movies from the people who have seen all 5?
Number 1.
Rudy, feel free to rank whatever you've seen, if you can. But
this movie's... Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I might hate. It's my least favorite Phase 4 film. Directing wise, no, but film wise, yes. It's my least favorite. So I'll just say that.
It's now my top 10 of all MCU films.
There you go.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I'm going worst to best: Black Widow, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Eternals, Shang-Chi, and number 1, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay. Patrick, what about you?
If I was going to rank it too, I'd probably have to go... In all honesty, my ranking has actually changed a lot. I'm going to have to go Black Widow, Spider-Man No Way Home, believe it or not, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange, I just had so much fun with. I recognize all the issues it has, but one thing I appreciate most is seeing how much fun they're always having on screen and how much Raimi is having fun making this movie.
Yeah.
Therefore, I had more fun than I did with No Way Home or Shang-Chi or Eternals, which, by the way, really enjoy Shang-Chi and Eternals. I just had more fun and connected with this movie more than any of the other Phase 4 properties so far, especially when it comes to the TV shows. By the way, that's an Easter egg that we didn't mention earlier. When Professor X goes into sort of
the
dream
WandaVision.
state, the WandaVision on the TV when he's trying to pull her out, and then she just...
Like a demon from hell. Holy shit.
Yep, very much so.
He got dragged.
But Zach, before we move on, I know that Rudy hasn't seen Shang-Chi. I don't know if... Did you grow up on Dragon Ball, Rudy?
I barely missed it. No, I did not.
Okay.
I missed
Then
the
you
whole
won't get
Pokemon
dragged.
and Dragon Ball
All
thing. Yeah.
All right,
I've been reading.
I was Batman animated series and Transformers. That was my thing.
Expect some text very soon, by the way, Ren. I'm going to finally binge all of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super because I'm about to finish my re-binge of Black Clover, and I'm like, all right, I'm in the long anime
I need
binge.
to get back on.
Black Clover is amazing. I love it.
Can I ask the guys questions? Can I ask you guys one question?
Yes.
You guys are definitely more vested in the MCU, and you got your finger on the pulse of like the films, who's in it, etc. Let me ask you this. Why do you think so many MCU fans do not like the Multiverse of Madness?
I think it's a lot of different reasons, to be honest. For me, it's none of the reasons that I think those people are. Some of it's directing. I think a lot of them, because before I went in to see the movie the second time, there was a group of younger kids who were probably 13, 14 years old talking shit about Sam Raimi, saying, oh, he can't make a fucking superhero movie anymore. That is not Tobey. Which is funny because I guarantee if they go back and watch Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movie, it's the same editing, the same style, the same, you know what I mean? So like the only difference in there is this one has more horror elements. So they were talking shit about him. So I do think some of that is the directing. So I've seen memes of how he made it look like a PowerPoint with the different visuals and stuff like that. And so I do think it's directing. The second thing is I've seen a lot of complaints with Wanda. I've seen a lot of complaints with how they handled Wanda's character, which was kind of surprising to me. But I think a lot of those people were surprised that she was the villain. I have one friend who did not see a single trailer for this. She watched WandaVision and she texted me. She goes, why is she the fucking villain? Why did she? And I'm like,
oh, okay.
I mean, it's kind of, the trailers, they do a good job of hiding that. Like, even in my non-spoiler review, I had Disney told us we were not allowed to say that she was the villain. We were not allowed to talk that she was the villain. So that was very hard to say that she was not the villain in the movie. Which then I'll get comments of me and like, well, your synopsis you read was completely wrong, sir. No, it was not. That is what is on the internet. That is what I'm allowed to talk about. So I think that's
I definitely mentioned she was the villain because it was just very obvious.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
In my spoiler-free review, to be specific.
Yeah. But I mean, what do you guys have for that with Rudy? Do you guys kind of agree with that? Do you think there's anything else?
I'm with you. I think there's several camps. There's a camp who was
cameo-wise too.
They were disappointed with the
cameos.
cameos.
They were expecting Cameo Palooza. A lot of it is the Twitter complainers. There's certainly a camp where it's legitimately it just didn't work for them. Definitely our friend was just here. Griffin is in that camp. I think there's a camp who wasn't expecting and didn't want a horror film. I think there's a camp that. I think there's certainly a camp of people that gets way too caught up in everything that comes out before, good or bad. So for all the people a lot of people that didn't like this movie, there's certainly a certain amount of illegitimate camps that love this film for the wrong reasons as well. So I think there's a lot of outside factors that Raimi had a longer cut. So they're like, Raimi had a longer cut? Okay, I don't like this movie. And I don't like that it's just 2 hours and all that. I think there's several camps that shift in how legitimate or illegitimate for reasons to like or dislike a movie there are for this one.
Okay.
Yep. Very much so. Patrick, what about you? Anything else you have to add?
I completely agree with Ren on that on this case. Like, it's the multiple different camps and the multiple different things just sort of collide and add up together in regards to why certain people might not like this movie. From runtime, story, direction, expectations is a big thing for this film in particular, I think. And one of the biggest ones I've actually seen on Twitter recently is Marvel fans or people who just genuinely want to enjoy the movie getting absolutely pissed off and frustrated with Wanda stands because There was a friend of mine who contacted me after he saw the movie on Wednesday night, at a night before screening, and he literally sent me a screenshot of a woman who had tweeted out saying, "I side with Wanda. Her actions are justified to kill Reed Richards because he's a white male."
Oh God. Okay.
And I'm just sitting here
Long
going,
lessons to pick from the movie.
wow. And I'm like, you missed the fucking point, lady. Like,
You
but
cannot be that
there is a lot of people on the internet that are Wanda stands who are justifying her actions for bullshit reasons like that. And it's creating such a disconnect between the two different communities of the Wanda stands who are good and understand, and then the Wanda stands who just want to justify her actions for bullshit reasons. And then there's obviously the MCU fans and then the regular movie fans, and it's just a major disconnect, and it's forcing people away, I feel, to a certain degree as well, because they're just fed up with it. It's like me at the moment with the whole Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just fuck off with the hashtag restore the Snyderverse crap. I don't need to see that anymore. And it just makes me upset in a way, and I understand where these people are therefore coming from.
Okay.
So, Rudy, do you want to fight Patrick right now? I know.
I will after we go. You know, I want it. I want my Snyderverse.
No, it's not that I don't want it. It's
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It's the community behind it that frustrates
some of them are a
me.
little. I will say this to close out my own question. I guess the fandom on both ends, I think, can get a little toxic. And that goes without saying. And what I like about the DCU is that every film has a different director. You know, Birds of Prey. Everything feels different. It doesn't have the same beats and steps. Well, the MCU, that's what they're known for. That's what people love. And I just find it disheartening that, a great director like Sam Raimi comes in and gives us a story, but with a just slightly different take, and people don't accept that because it's different and not what they know. So I think it kind of just paints your world a little bit smaller. I think if you just kind of expand and just open your mind to maybe a different type of take or storytelling, it'll help. But that's just me. But whatever you like, you like. I'm not condemning what you like. I'm just saying it's unfortunate people don't like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. And I feel that. So I accidentally lost out on a question, but we have two more to ask, and that's it, guys. So the next one we had, I can't bring up on the screen, but pretty much he wanted to know, do you think we'll see any more of the variants that we saw within the Illuminati? I would imagine maybe What If has those scenarios where you could bring back Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel for that world and play around with that. And honestly, do not be shocked if X-Men 97 has some sort of cool things to this. Just saying.
I had a theory about that. I had a theory that the X-Men 97 series will return in its own way within the next season of What If, that the 97 X-Men will return in an episode of What If.
Oh, Patrick.
So
you're a man after my own heart.
Yeah, we're getting the sequel series, so bring Patrick Stewart looking just like him. It might be an homage, it might not be, but
I mean, it's clearly like a parallel version, but it's different. Exactly. In one of the universes, they are animated, and then they come to this version, and he's on every visual level, on every aesthetic level, the same as the animated series, but he's not animated, so he's not the same as the animated series.
So
he's just someone very similar.
Who do you guys? Let me ask you this: which, besides Krasinski, which character do you want to see return from the Illuminati? If you were
Captain Carter.
Who? Okay.
Captain Carter.
So you said Captain Carter, Black Bolt. What about you, Rudy?
A Black Bolt.
Okay.
Yep. Who do you think would play Medusa in the Inhumans? Live action movie if they did it? Okay.
Oh, okay. Honestly, the actress I would actually really like to play is I'm blanking on her name, but the one who played Circe in Game of Thrones.
Lena Headey?
Yeah, I'd love her. I'd love her to play Medusa.
I like that.
So Medusa's a really cool character.
I would have said Charlize Theron, but
I would have said Charlize too, but she's already playing someone. So.
And then you've also got to cast like Trident and everything as well. And I'm just sitting here like doing my fan cast in my head right now, and I'm like,
we can agree. One thing we can all agree on: I'm Nova. That's it. There's no more discussion. That I'm waiting for the call. Email. I get anxiety if you call me on the phone. Email me.
Last question. Luis asks, with the Illuminati being killed off so quickly, do you think something more catastrophic than Thanos will happen in our MCU's reality that will have Doctor Strange reform the Illuminati with our main MCU characters?
Yes.
So there doesn't need to happen anything more catastrophic. Just his understanding of the danger that is out there, knowing what is possible for people to have access to become, knowing what happened to Wanda, even with the Darkhold. If now everyone is super powerful. He's going to, what's the term? He's going to do something before it happens. Like it's like the pre-crime from Minority Report. He's going to do something to prevent it from happening before it even happens. It even happens. That is.
Very much so. So, I kind of agree with that as well. I think it's going to start being set up. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 years of Marvel movies we see these Illuminati coming together.
In our reality,
Strange.
may not even be Doctor Strange.
No,
I think it will be. I think it would make the most sense, but
maybe Reed comes out from the 1960s and says, "What the fuck? We need to put together something." You know,
maybe Black Panther and maybe whoever's the Black Panther and Namor in Black Panther.
Maybe even Clea will do it as the successor, as the Sorcerer Supreme and everything years on after Doctor Strange sort of either dies or leaves the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah, maybe seeing a giant fucking celestial staring at the Earth and coming down might scare the shit out of some people.
Oh, one of the Eternals in there should be interesting.
Yeah, that would be. So, which Eternal would you guys want to be a part of? If you got to pick one,
who's the one that's like Superman? Who's that one?
Icarus.
That one. I want that one.
Well,
He did.
well, I'd go with Fastos.
Fastos. Okay.
Hang on. I need to re-familiarize myself because I haven't seen Eternals in a while.
Cersei, Fina, Gilgamesh, Kingo,
I would do Druid.
Fastos,
I would do Druid.
Ajax. Druid would be Druid very much fits into the Illuminati. He's got the hubris and the arrogance.
Yeah. So
he's got the dickheadishness for it.
Yeah. Patrick, you figure out someone?
Honestly, Makari.
Makari's a good one. I like Makari.
That would be. I think I think all of them fit.
Or even Black Knight. Black Knight would be an interesting one.
Yeah, if his characters doesn't suck like he does in the comics. So
yeah, right now, I will disagree, but I think he can become someone who fits that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like we haven't seen him properly. We only got the little tease up for him. So, but I think that if they do the character justice, which by the way, Zach, screw you. I like Black Knight. If they do him justice. He's
a cool character. I just want more from him.
He's cool. He's a cool character in the team. I would never read a solo run of his.
Yeah.
So, I did, and I regretted it.
Yeah. But that's where we come down to, guys. That's it. Everyone. That's it. We talked about Multiverse of Madness. And, I had these great people join me for that. So before we get going, I do want you guys to share your guys' what you guys have coming up. If you guys have any videos down below in the comment section or in the comments in the description, you can actually find all their links, so definitely go check them out. Rudy, what do you got coming up? Any cool videos, anything you got planned?
Well, on the video side, on the movie side, no, but please go to my TikTok page. It's kind of blowing up. It's Rudy A Official. If you need, it's totally different from what we're talking about here. If you want relationship advice, dating advice, life advice, I have about 192,000 followers on TikTok, and that's primarily where I'm at. So if you're interested in that, go follow me there.
Even if you're not, it's very interesting to still listen to. I'm one of those people that likes gossip sometimes, so like I like the tea, that drama and whatnot. So I always enjoy it.
I've sat there listening to your TikToks before, admittedly, while I'm like taking a dump, but I'm sitting there like, oh yeah,
thank you.
I'm like,
but let's be honest, that is really when you watch TikToks.
I watch TikToks when I'm in bed. Like
when I'm taking a dump, I'm
it's too late to be on the computer or something. I lay down to the side and I scroll through TikTok.
It's either I'm watching TikTok or reading manga whenever I'm taking a dump. So
well, I'm glad to be there in spirit while you're taking a dump.
Well, I sit there and I'm like, this is really interesting. Like, I don't want to turn this off. And I'm 20 years old and couldn't be further away from being ready to get married or anything right now. Like, I need to get a girlfriend first, let alone get married.
Patrick, but what about you? What do you got coming up? Any cool reactions? Any unique videos?
I'm really excited for some of the reactions coming out because I'm trying to do a lot of the requested ones. I have Cannibal Holocaust coming out this week, which is going to be a very interesting video to edit around. I have my reaction to the remake of House of Wax coming out as well. And I'm finally getting my sister to sit down and watch Hereditary with me, which will be a lot of fun. I'm going to corrupt her little mind. And I'm very, very excited. But yeah, no, I've got those coming out as well. Other than that, when it comes to the video side of things, I've got a schedule sort of lined out. I'm going to do Jeepers Creepers 2 eventually. But yeah, I honestly considering even when it comes out on Disney Plus eventually, I'm reacting to Oh, I'm probably going to do Obi-Wan. I'm probably going to react to
Okay.
Obi-Wan coming
Hey,
out at the
cool.
end of the month, depending on how work schedule sort of is in my favor or not.
Fair enough. And Ren, what about you, man? What do you got coming up? I know you have your Dark Phoenix review, but anything else?
Yes, sadly, yes. So this week I get my Dark Phoenix review coming up to finish off my X-Men series of reviews, which I started doing in preparation for Multiverse of Madness. There's only one left, so I need to take care of it, or otherwise my OCD will flip out. So that one comes out today. Tonight, I will be announcing the next review series to prepare for the next blockbuster that is coming up very soon, and a video will be sent out for that. If I may also say, memberships on my channel are live. I currently have 3 members, so thank you very much to all those members, and if anyone wants to sign up as well, really appreciate it. Tomorrow, Everything Everywhere All at Once review, and then the rest of the week is kind of a little up in the air. But I think I will be watching Fires 2. I've mixed those two up. Firestarter and Fathers 2. 2 very different movies. So those will be coming up very soon. And there's a bunch of Multiverse of Madness coverage right now up.
Well, you heard it all.
Firestarter is an iffy one when it comes to the screeners and everything, because I was actually meant to see it like 2.5 to 3 weeks ago now, but they canceled my screening, and the movie comes out this week. And
from what I've heard, it's understandable why they canceled it.
Yeah,
So-
they literally contacted me like 12 hours before the screening was meant to happen. I'm like, hey, by the way, the screening's not happening anymore. I'm like, hello? What?
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
I have thoughts on that, but I'm not going to get into it here. So thank you guys again so much for watching this. You guys are really all the best. Hit that like and subscribe button. I do have like 4 more Doctor Strange videos coming out. So do look forward to those, as well as some preparation for Top Gun Maverick, Alex Garland ranking as well with Ex Machina, Annihilation, and Men very soon. Can't wait to have those out. And of course, I will be reviewing Downton Abbey, A New Era. I've never seen the show, so this will be fun. So thank you so much again for watching. And of course, until next time, stay classy and don't get lost in the multiverse.